Yep.
Oh,
Come on. Another episode, y'all. Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are tuned into the Anything Can Happen show with Kenya Asa, Quezzy Dreams, and your man, Cat Fitness. And
hey,
today we have a very, very special guest. I've done many events with this young lady, and every time that she comes out, she has killed it. So I had to get her on the show and,
yes,
and introduce her to all our Facebook and YouTube family and Spotify and everybody else. So,
everybody.
with no further ado, we're going to have Miss Kenya introduce Miss Bliss.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to have this lovely woman on the show today. So, who we have with us today is Ananda Bliss Kenboya. She is a masterful storyteller, a workshop leader, nutrition advocate, published author, meditation facilitator, a licensed spiritual practitioner through Center for Spiritual Living, and a certified professional life coach. Bliss holds a master's of human relations and has more than 15 years of experience working with clients to release limiting beliefs and remove blocks. Don't we all need that, honey?
Amen.
Through personal transformation and recalibration, she has developed her intuitive nature and empowers her clients to live their optimal life by consciously designing it. This Southern-born and raised Oakland transplant speaks from the heart, blending her gift of storytelling with a no-nonsense and compassionate approach that inspires others, y'all. Bliss is the midwife of the Inner Soul Vibration, a collective that creates sound healing circles for groups and individuals. Bliss is a wife and a mother currently residing in Oakland. Welcome, Miss Bliss.
Ooh,
Wow.
I'm fired up, y'all.
Welcome,
Man.
welcome. So, Bliss, first question of the day. Of all these different roles, which one is your favorite and why?
Wow, favorite. Let's see.
You gotta
That's
pick one.
interesting because that's a big question. I love all
Yeah.
of them, but I would say probably my favorite is probably sound healing because it's a way to connect with people. When we do this work with people, we actually get them involved. They get to play instruments, they get to use their voice and sing or speak, so it's more interactive. We've gone into homes and worked with people who are having the experience of cancer. And so that's very fulfilling to be with people as they're getting ready to embark on this very important part of their life's journey, be it through chemo or surgery or whatever's coming next. And we get a chance to be there with them as part of that healing team. So I would say that's probably my favorite. The others are also great, but that one is super fulfilling.
See that you're a mother, Bliss, so that's like saying who's your favorite kid? Like, do you really have a favorite
Everybody
kid?
has a favorite.
That's
We're not
right.
gonna play
Oh,
this
they
game.
have a favorite.
We're
People
not gonna
have a
play this
favorite.
game.
They just don't say it out loud.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I
keep
have
it in
4
the
of
heart.
them. I have 3 I gave birth to, and I have a bonus son that I've been blessed with, and I don't have a favorite. They're all my favorite. And they used to try to trick me when they were kids and ask me one at a time who was their favorite. So I would just tell them, you're my favorite baby, you're my favorite oldest, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, so don't have a
Parenting
favorite.
101. Yeah,
Hey,
you know,
I have 9 godchildren, and I say the same thing. I'm lying though. I'm always like, "You're my favorite." No, you're my favorite. You're my favorite.
My children as well. And
we got some flavor today. We got some
See?
flavor.
That's hilarious.
they're all my favorite. They're all my favorites. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
and for different reasons, you know.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
probably watching. Are they watching?
They might be tuned in right now, so we can't say no names.
It's the internet. No mistakes on the internet.
But before we get too far into this conversation, make sure if you're tuning in right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're watching from our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you like, share, and comment throughout the show. Make sure you also follow our ACH Instagram page, y'all.
Yeah.
So that is HCH Show on IG. Following us there because we're going to continue to provide you with great information, great resources, and continue to fulfill you on your health journey each and every day. Okay.
Yes. And we got them photo shoot pics dropping soon. We're gonna release it to the
GQ.
people. They're not ready for that.
They sure aren't ready with you in the sunlight with your outfit on and Cat with the face. It's like,
come on.
You so humble.
And then me with my troll hair. It's like,
oh no, it wasn't no troll.
They
hair.
ready.
It was
They
King
ready.
the Wildcat. He is a wildcat hair.
So
Yeah, we're gonna
let's.
get it going.
I know Miss Bliss specializes in the sound healing, and we asked you to maybe give us a couple minutes of what that feels like and what that experience is like for not only us but for our viewers out there. And I know you were going to share a piece. It's not an original piece, but it's a piece that you're going to share with us and allow us to meditate and ground ourselves before we get into the show today.
That is correct. So, are we ready to begin?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right, let's do this. Okay. So, for those out there in TV land, yeah, I'm dating myself by saying that. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes or soften your gaze, one of the two, and to plant your feet on the floor if you have the ability to do that. If you do not, just sit in a way that is most comfortable for your body. And that will be very, very helpful to this process. So I'm going to ask you now to listen to the sound of my voice and to follow what I'm instructing you to do. There won't be a lot of talking, but there will be some. So at this moment, through your body temple, send some of that love out. And we first want to acknowledge the parts of the body that's working in a way that provides ease and comfort. And let's just sit with that for a moment. And next, let's send some healing light to the parts of our bodies that may require more support and a bit more attention. And just continue to sit restfully and peacefully. And when it's time to return, I'll let you know. Just listen to your heartbeat. So very slowly and very gently come back into this space, into this present moment, just giving thanks to this body temple, thanking the parts that work with effortless ease, that cause and create comfort, mobility, and also giving thanks to the parts of the body that's asking for more help and more support. Yes. Thank you for your time and going on this journey with me. Namaste.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Man.
Okay.
Ooh.
So,
Jeez.
Pat, what came up for you? Talk to me.
Oh man, I felt the vibrations go through my entire body when she was on that bowl. I don't know what it is about hearing whatever frequency that creates, how it can kind of just, you can feel things just open up through the body with the vibrations every single time. Like that's amazing tool, you know?
Fantastic. Good, good.
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
really glad.
How
Thank you.
was it for you over there, Brother Kwesi?
Oh, it was. So a lot of stuff that I've been suppressing in my mind came up, which I didn't expect. But I definitely know I need to commit more time to it in order to like flesh through the thoughts that were coming up in my mind. But it was pleasant. Generally, that was very pleasant. So thank you for that, Bliss. I appreciate it. But well, what about you, Kenya? How did that feel?
Well, that was beautiful. You know, I love any kind of sound bath stuff. Like as a yoga teacher, I love sound bath. I love kirtan. I love all kinds of spiritual music. So that really spoke to me, and I loved it. It was beautiful. Thank you so much. And please thank your accompaniment as well.
Thank you. I certainly will. He can hear you. He's just a little camera shy today. But it's my husband, Nelson, who is also part of the Inner Soul Vibration. And we do a lot of these things together. And we wanted to be able to bring more African-influenced drums and sounds, especially from the diaspora, into the practice of meditation. Not dismissing any of the other sounds, but adding to it. So, and I think this creates a whole nother opportunity for people as well to be able to hear certain instruments in a different way. So thank you for being a part of that.
Beautiful.
Thank you for sharing.
And how long have you been a sound healer?
Oh, I would say probably all my life. I officially started drumming when I was, about 11 or 12. I grew up in the South, so we always wanted to imitate gremlins. So I learned how to play drums. I didn't learn how to play like more of the West African drums until I came to California, which was many, many years later. So if you get a snare drum in front of me or something like that, and, we can definitely do that one too. So I kind of learned by sound. My husband is definitely professionally trained and has done a whole lot of work with the West African drums. So we just blend it all together. And it's just always been a part of me. Just my entire life, I was tapping on stuff, making different sounds, and just, and so I've always done that. And I've always had the ability to sit with people. So there was always this healing thing that always seemed to happen. So,
that's extremely powerful. And I want to ask about your name, by the way. So Kinvoya, is that your married name or your maiden name?
Neither. It actually came to me spiritually through meditation. In fact, my entire name did. So my mother did not name me Ananda. That's a different show. But the whole name, all of it came through meditation, through practice. So
wow. And what does it mean?
Kinvoya? African butterfly. Now, the origins, I've gotten mixed comments about that. I've heard that it's Swahili. I'm not sure, but, some people have told me, well, you're not from that place. I say, how do you know? I'm bliss of the universe, so infinite bliss. So work it out however you need to.
I like that.
Yeah. So
have you traveled to Africa?
I have not yet. That's on my agenda. So one of my
Not yet.
goals is to live in Africa for a year. So we're figuring out how to make that happen. But we have several countries identified, and we're hoping to get a chance to travel to other countries while we're there. But that's like a passion. And it really came about, honestly, during COVID. We had planned to go and visit, but then the idea to go and live and stay for a year, that came like in the process of COVID and continuing to dream and put the dream into activity.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in Ghana when I was a child for almost a year, and it was, I have no words to describe that experience. It was completely amazing. And so I know that you're going to, if you decide on West Africa, you're going to be feeling that kind of just a spiritual connection. There's just there's really no way around it.
I am the only host on this show that hasn't been to Africa.
So
it's my turn to go to Africa.
Ghana was actually one of the countries, so I'll be talking with you later about that, Kenya, because I do want to know more about that, because that is actually one of the countries on my list, and Ghana did show up in the DNA. So not as prominent as Nigeria, but it did show up, and so in a significant way. So very happy about that. So
nice.
I'm gonna plug Traveling Black real quick, owned by Kumi. So we're both alma maters of the same school, but he actually takes especially Black folks to all parts of the world, including Cuba and South Africa. I think they've been to Europe. But my wife and I went to Ghana with him back in 2018, I believe it was. That was the second time, but I highly recommend looking into it, especially if you're a first timer. He has many, many connections all over the world. So that's for everybody listening to the show. Tap in with Traveling Black on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Okay. I'm definitely going to be writing that down, because we definitely want to go and travel and visit first, so we can make sure that the countries that we decided on are the ones we want to stick with. Because we may have some other ideas once we actually go and travel. So, but that is one of the goals, definitely.
Yeah,
nice.
Absolutely. And where are you from in the South?
Oklahoma, from Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, I do Thunder Up, but I'm also a Warriors fan now. Remember, I'm a happy transplant, so I do the Warriors too. So.
You traveling with Kevin Durant. She moving to Brooklyn next.
Now you know, when he left OKC, I was done, right? I was done. He left the Warriors, I was super done. So I was the best, but I'm like, you know what?
Oh, absolutely.
You're on your own now.
Yeah, you're on your own. I'm like, and I'm not even a sports fan, really. It's just we finally got a professional ball team in Oklahoma. That's the only one in the entire state. So even though I'm not there, and I was already in California when that team got there, I still gotta have that home spirit, because it's the only professional ball team, the only one in the entire state. So.
Wow, that's a big state. Wow. That's a big state. But let me ask you this, Bliss. So I was checking out your website before the show, and I saw one of your many titles is, I believe it's Living Well Practitioner, or is it Instigator? I believe it's Living Well Instigator. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Can you break, what does that mean? Can you break that down?
It's funny that came up when I was doing like a writing project, like a writing prompt. And for me, when I talk about Living Well Instigator, I am absolutely going to encourage anybody, everybody, including myself, when I sometimes forget, which is not often, to live well, live your best life now. Yes, you can. Doesn't matter what's going on. I got this, and this. I'm going to keep poking and prodding, and nope, you can still live your best life. Nope, that's not going to be good enough. Nope, live your best life right now. Not tomorrow. We're not planning to live our best life. Life is happening and unfolding right now in this moment, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's not even sure. But this moment we're in it.
Never promised.
It really is not promised. No. So what I want to know on that note, because we do have you here to talk about chronic pain, right? And we've spoken about this. We had a little pre-show conversation and stuff like that. And it's really difficult for some people to see the light at the end of that tunnel. Right. So if you're somebody who has some sort of chronic pain disorder or anything even like that, it's really challenging to say, oh, I want to live my best life when you're in this kind of pain.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you say to that? Because I know you have your own experiences, you have your own history. And sometimes our experiences are the unfortunate thing that bring us to being an expert in this particular field, you know. So how would you address that subject?
For me, when I say live your best life now, it's going to change from moment to moment. So your mobility can also change from moment to moment. So since we're in this present moment, what is the body able to do right now? And it may not be able to get up out the bed at all, but can your mind still go? Is it still churning out thoughts? Then you can create what that is. You can sit in that contemplation of, okay, right now, my body may not be able to move. I may be in extreme pain. And I do know that personally. I really do. And I'm still going to give thanks for a body that's still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still here. There's still more for me to do, more for me to experience, more joy, more opportunity. And this is this moment, so you got to be with that moment. And it does, it ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. I've had moments where I got up and it's like, I'm going to run that marathon today. Okay, right now I'm going to turn around, go backwards. I'm like, I'm dancing with it, right? And I've had other moments where I'm like, today we're going to sit our butt down. And if I can't move, I'm like, okay, so what is there for me to see, do, or know? In this moment, there may be something that I need to focus on more. And it could be simply rest. Maybe my body is telling me, you need to sit down somewhere, quit trying to dance and do the marathon. You need to sit down somewhere and be in this moment. And there's a lot you can learn and unlearn in the stillness. And so whatever that moment is, there is still something to be grateful for. It may not be the whole out picturing that you have in your mind. I've got some really big dreams and goals in my mind. And it doesn't mean I would do them today, right in this moment, but I'm going to have the best day ever in this moment, whatever that is right now.
So my question
it sounds like, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, it sounds like mindset is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
So my question to you, Ms. Bliss, when did you start getting in tune with yourself like that? Because, a lot of us feel certain things and, we look past it and we put it to the back of our mind. When did it really become something that you wanted to be present? And how did that look going through that transition, getting there?
Well, it actually started way back in Oklahoma. I ended up being a single mom. I got married young and got divorced young, and I was the mother of 3 at the time. And so life was busy, hectic. I was seldom in my body because I was so compartmentalized, and I wanted something else. There was something in me that said, just sit in the stillness, turn off the lights and just sit and just be. Now, keep in mind, I had never heard of no meditation. I know what none of that was. Not growing up where I did, but I knew just be still for 5 minutes. And then it started increasing and increasing. And it's really interesting because the more that I sat in the stillness, the more I could really connect with what was going on within me. That's where the name change came from. That's where the positivity and the mindset came from. And let me be clear, it's still a continuous journey because I'm still discovering new layers, because that's even how the chronic pain. I have been in chronic pain for 10 years and didn't recognize it. So I'm still a work in progress, and I'm happy to say that I am rising to the occasion and still learning new places of, okay, I want to be present in a deeper way. And so there's still the ability to continuously do that. So that's where I am with it.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. And I want to ask you this, right? For somebody who may not be familiar with this language, right? Because I would say, like, I don't speak for all men, of course, but I feel like there's not enough conversation around healthy ways to practice self-care. Like, even that language, I'd love to hear Kat's opinion on this too. Like, men don't talk about self-care, right? And I mean, generally speaking, of course, there are small pockets, right?
Yes.
But asking as a man, what does it look like to live your best life? And I'll leave it at that. What would that look like?
I would say the same to a man that I would say to a woman, that I would say to someone who's gender non-binary. Be in the present moment. What makes you happy? What gets you excited? What do you want to do with yourself? I mean, I've talked to different men who said, hey, I want to have a man cave. I've got like 5 daughters. Look, I got 5 daughters, a wife, and her mother live here too, and her sister next door. I need a man cave. So sometimes the man cave, there may not be space within the house, but there's space within. And what I mean by within is find that place where you dream and you begin to create your own world. And I'm not talking about imaginary friends unless that's your thing, then do that too. But go within and figure out, okay, what can I do with the pieces that I've been given? Now, women are definitely very good at this, and I really think that men are too, but women have learned how to grab what are the pieces we have. It's like the kids come in, the husband comes in, I'm hungry, what we gonna eat? It's like, well, I can find all kind of stuff in my cabinet. My family will tell you, there's nothing to eat. I'm like, look, we done pulled out a whole 5-course meal, okay? So, and you have to be able to do that. It doesn't matter what gender you are. So whatever gets you going, you have some men who are the cook of the family, so he might be the one pulling stuff out the cabinet and figuring it out. So whatever it is that you can think about, like for me, one of my things is I want to go live in Africa. So first thing I'm going to do is start planning trips to go to Africa so I can visit. Then I'm going to map out, when am I going to go? Where am I going to live? So you just start charting out your course. You get some short-term goals so you can get some wins right now. And it could be, I'm going to create my man cave in my bedroom right now. Everybody out. This is the man cave Tuesday at 6:00, man cave, and you create whatever you need to in that bedroom. And that's going to be your man cave. So whatever that is, create it. And that becomes your best life right now. If that's the best you can do, y'all got a 2-bedroom house, you got 5 daughters, the mother-in-law, your wife, the sister next door, then you're not going to have your own room in the house, but you can create that space, within whatever pockets you have available to you. Use it to the best of your ability and let people know in your family. This is something I think that men don't do enough, is to say, look, I need my me time. You need to say self-care.
Setting boundaries. Setting boundaries.
And I think women are better at that than men, personally, from what I have observed. Men won't say anything. Just got to go play ball with the boys,
Well, I think for men, it's like the time that we get to go to the barbershop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the guy time. Just like when women go to the hairdresser and they sit back, and it's the woman time to kind of chill and talk and release certain things that might be
meditation.
Building up.
And for those of us who don't go to the hairdresser, we have to find other ways, other places to get that. And I think it's super important. It's super important. And I'm surprised to hear you say that, Bliss, that you think that women and men have such a different disparity in finding that me time, because I feel like women have a really hard time too setting those kinds of boundaries, because people are always
for women. But let me tell you what I mean by that. We will say that we need some me time. They won't say it, so the family doesn't even know that he may have a need, that he needs some me time. Now, activated, but I think women are better at saying. Let me be real clear. Women are better at saying, "I need some me time. I'm going to get my nails done," or whatever. We'll at least say it, but I don't think men see it. I don't think they say it enough, and I think
that's probably really true.
I think a lot of times we miss that men have needs too, because they don't say it. They may act on it. They don't say it. So you don't know that that's what they're doing. You might think, "Oh, I'm just hanging out." Oh, they're going to go hang out with their friends. That's the me time. Going to the barbershop. That's the me time. So communication is different.
Of course. And just contextually speaking, I know as a man, it was heavily discouraged for me to say how I feel, right? Like heavily discouraged, and I won't bring up the epithets and the different phrases that men hear growing up, but it can be terrifying for a lot of men to say, like, this is too much for me. I need help, right? And that's something that can lead to like victimization in a sense, or putting yourself in a position that's vulnerable around sharks. And that's what gets taught. And we can see the repercussions of that as we grow older, even in our interactions with the women that we claim to love in our lives, right? So I feel like this conversation is more important than ever, especially considering the climate of America, right? And how people, let alone the pandemic and being stuck in the house and losing your job or your main source of income, losing family members, not being able to visit them at the home, literally seeing lynchings happening on live television, right? Like, it's just a lot. And what would you recommend for somebody who's just in their worst place ever, right? Mentally, physically, spiritually? I saw a statistic saying the average millennial has gained 40 pounds during COVID. And this is back in like January or February, right? 1 year, 40 pounds. And Kat could speak to this, right? Like, that's a lot of weight to put on your body, but it's a clear sign of the desperation that a lot of people are feeling. Like, what would you recommend for somebody who has no idea what self-care is, no idea what sound healing is, no idea what it means to live their best life? Where should they start?
Start within their own tribe, meaning their group of friends, and start talking about what's going on. And you don't have to talk in terms of sound bath, meditation, self-care, but just have the conversation. It's like, it's really hard right now. I'm not feeling good right now. I'm sad right now. And I don't know what I'm feeling right now, but having that conversation. And then there are some people who may not actually have like a friend group or a tribe that they're actually connected to. I would suggest looking online, especially if you're a millennial, looking online for groups, Google different groups, things that are interesting to you.
I would say some of the times it can be a cancer, well, calling it a cancer, but the people that you talk to sometimes on a regular basis keep you at that low vibration. You know what I'm saying? So finding those groups that are doing, just like you just said, Ms. Bliss, just doing those things that you're looking forward to doing in your life, and start surrounding yourself with those type of people versus sometimes the surroundings that kind of got you to that place, or that frequency, that energy that you're currently holding inside.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up another thing too, because if the friend group that you're talking to all the time is not the group that you would talk to about how you're feeling, you need to kind of look at that list. You may need to just select all and delete.
People have been doing a lot of that. People have done so much of that. I'm sure you guys have seen some of this on social media. I'm getting rid of all these people, especially this past year. 2020, I think, set us up in a situation where we are not tolerating nonsense in a way maybe that we had previously, because 2020 was so rough and so many of us were stuck at home. So many of us lost our jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So then you have this situation where these people are not lifting me up. And even even people who are quote unquote friends on social media, you find that they have been bringing you down. And or politically, all the stuff around Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff, it all came to a head in 2020. And on top of all that, we were trapped. We were trapped like rats in a cage. And so I think that the ability to tolerate the crap that other people brought to us, we realized that our time is more valuable because our time, we got a whole new meaning of it in 2020. We got a whole new meaning of time. We didn't get to see our family as much as we wanted to. And I think that also kind of speaks to some of the taking care of ourselves and the weight gain, like Kwesi. And then that contributes to chronic pain and inflammation and all of these things. It's just been rough. It's been rough. And so,
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to remind everybody, subscribe to our YouTube page. We're adding straight value right now. We're barely 30 minutes in. Miss Bliss is bringing the fire. She's just getting started. Subscribe to our YouTube page at Heal the Hood. Follow us on Instagram at ach.show. But that being said, Miss Bliss, please take it away.
You know what? I think it's so interesting. Kenya hit right upon what happened to me. I'm not a millennial, but let me tell you, and I didn't do the 40 pounds, but I did enough because I have like a very intimate relationship with ice cream. Okay. So I need like a 12-step program for real. Okay. And then being vegan, trying to find good ice cream. I found it and I started working for them. Okay. And then the pandemic hit. So it was interesting. Every time I saw something sour in the news or somebody, popping off on social media saying something harmful and hurtful, I wanted something sweet. So I was, So then what ended up happening is I got to this place where I was in pain every single day, every day. And this went on for almost 6 months trying to figure out, well, why am I in pain? Because I had been in that level of pain on and off, but it would stop. But now it was just staying with me. I had put some more weight onto the body. So I'm like, oh, there's more pressure on the knees. So I did a lot of different things to find out what was going on. And I'm like, my goodness, I'm having chronic pain, and I got a diagnosis. And I was like, how did this just creep up on me? And the doctor was like, it didn't creep up on you, because there's no way that it could be in this condition and you not notice it. And what happens with chronic pain, a lot of times you get to this place to where you're used to having like a certain level of pain.
Right.
Like normal is here. And then it kind of creeps up and you're like here with the pain. And you just kind of sit here all the time in this pain. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have the uptick, that's when you like, oh, it's like, so it did an uptick. And I was like, whoa, what's that? And it hadn't come all the way down to normal in quite some time. So when I finally had some normal days in there, I was like, wait a minute, I've been in chronic pain for over 10 years.
I was going to say, what's interesting about that is essentially I heard a story, right, of a person. You can take a frog, right? And if you take a frog and you try to put it into boiling water, it'll hop out, right? It'll automatically react to it and get out. But if you put a frog in room temperature water and you slowly turn it up, right, to eventually get to boiling, that frog will boil and eventually die in that water, right? Wow. And it just sounds like, that mentality that we have is like, okay, I know if I slam my hand in the door, that's pain. But if I have this nick in my knee or my neck or my back, I might have just slept bad, right? I can deal with that today, right? I don't have to address it as much. I don't have to get to the source of the issue. And then a couple weeks go by, a couple months go by, and it still hasn't gone away. And I've kind of learned to live with it at that particular point instead of really understanding that, no, something else is going on within me. I need to figure it out at that point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I hear you, because that's one of the reasons why I quit drinking coffee, because I've been a hardcore coffee addict for as long as I can remember. And I didn't realize that I was in pain every single morning. My stomach hurt every single morning. I'd have to roll out of bed. And I was doing this for so long. It didn't strike me until I got off of coffee for a little while and I start hopping out of bed, and I'm feeling normal. And I was like, oh, maybe it's the coffee, which was a horrifying prospect. Cause I'm like, how am I supposed to wake up in the morning? Kat knows because,
we had the early morning yoga classes.
I've taught yoga.
Have my coffee, Kat.
And I'm like, I'll be there as soon as I get this coffee down. Right. So, but then you don't realize that you're in pain because you're thinking of other things, and you've got jobs, family, et cetera, et cetera. And then I hear what you're saying too about ice cream. For me, I learned how to bake bread during the pandemic. I learned how to bake bread, and there was more bread going into my body. And I've been off of gluten for years. I've been gluten-free for years. But during the pandemic, I'm like, F it. I'm going to learn how. And we would make one day, me and my husband made 4 loaves of bread.
Nice.
4 loaves of bread, and ate every single piece. Every single piece. Just slap it. It was crazy. It was, but it was so delicious. So delicious. And then I'm like, I don't need to zip up any jeans. I'm not wearing jeans anyway. I'm just wearing yoga pants all the time. Who needs real clothes?
Who's gonna see me?
Yeah. Who needs real clothes? I'm not going anywhere.
But then we gotta realize all those kind of things create inflammation in the body as well. There's this chronic pain on top of that.
Yes. Yes.
But then we have to break the habit. We have to figure out how to get ourselves out of that joyful moment, like for you and the ice cream, and for me and the bread, the joyful moment that's bringing you to fix the problem. What are some of the things that you did, Miss Bliss, to start healing yourself and finding your way back?
Well, I mean, for me, once I got the diagnosis and they were talking to me about knee replacement, I mean, that was like the shock. That's like the frog being thrown into the hot water. That was like, no. I was like, I don't have any desire to be bionic today, but thank you. So I decided I wanted to keep my knees, right? So I started doing some research and creating a treatment plan. because I didn't like what that doctor was talking about. I fired her, by the way. So you can fire your doctor.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay.
You can also get a second opinion.
I tell people this because people don't realize this. You don't have to stay with the doctor that's not on your team. And we'll talk about what it means to be on your team. So I started finding different things, because the first thing she told me, I listened to it for a little while. I knew I wasn't going to do a knee replacement, but she recommended a cortisone shot. So I thought, okay, let me give this a try. And then there were some indications of why I shouldn't have that. But of course, she didn't read anything. So I did that anyway, and it didn't work. So it could have created some other additional problems for me. So I just kept looking, how do I find some other things that are going to work for me? So I contacted Kat, started working out with him one-to-one. Because from the time that I worked with Kat, we knew that my balance, there was something going on with my balance. Didn't know that all of that was connected. Didn't know that. Yeah. So I did some PT, physical therapy, and found out that if I strengthened my quads and my hamstrings and my core and reduce some more of the weight, that it would pull some of that pressure off of my knees and I wouldn't have that pain. It's not going to fix the particular condition that I have, but I won't have the pain and I won't be making it worse. So I just kept trying different things. I started reading about what's going on with this particular condition. And I understood the diagnosis, but you're not going to tell me the outcome, you know? Yeah. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm going to decide. So I started looking at, okay, not doing that, throw that out. So what things actually are in alignment, in agreement with me? So continuing to modify the diet. Vegan, yes. Always doing the right thing with food, no. Working on that. So, and being better than I used to be, being better than I used to be. And, so I started setting like small goals for myself. Like, let's see, I have a book here. Okay.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. So I started like jotting different things down. I started looking at the main thing is food. So it's food and water intake. So I'm like, well, that's managed by me. So if me not paying attention to it got me in this situation, well, if I start paying attention and acting on it, put some things in place, then I can make my life better. So that's how I got started. I tried things like CBD oil, which doesn't work for me. I'm a strong believer in CBD oil. Yeah. I've seen the benefits and I've seen how it works for a lot of people. It just doesn't work with my chemistry for some reason. So I found out about essential oils and totally turned my life around. That's when I had the days where I actually could remember what it was like to not be in pain. That's when I realized that my base level was here instead of here. It had gotten here.
Right.
And I was functioning here. So sometimes, you have to go through a lot of different things and trials and errors and wins to figure out what really works for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me ask you this, Bliss. So as we all know, life is a journey. And of course, when we embark on new journeys, right, that's a journey within life. And everybody here, at least to my understanding, is either a business owner or entrepreneur, right? And we understand that, business ownership is a microcosm of life. So I want to ask you, this is a two-part question. I give you the first part. So the first part is, in your journey, right? Should I call it like a self-care journey or a healing journey? Like, how would you identify it?
It's just the journey, period. It's the journey of life. So, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So in the journey of life, particularly this portion that you're talking about today, right? What has been your lowest and your highest point in this journey that you can recall? If you feel comfortable sharing, but we love to know.
Oh, goodness. I think my lowest point was, I've had a few low points. So I don't know which one is actually the lowest, but some low points for me was being told that both of my knees are almost bone on bone and I'm going to need knee replacement. I'm that chick that was still wearing those 5-inch heels and dropping it. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Mama was dropping it, make it rain. And so now I can't hardly get up the stairs without any kind of pain. You're telling me that knee replacement, but not going to be bionic, not the sexy. If it's going to be a knee replacement, there needs to be something bionic about it. So that's really a low point for me. Hearing someone address me as someone who's disabled and hearing that, I was like, whoa. disabled, and then I start thinking about, well, what does disabled mean? And I was like, wow. And I never thought of myself in that way, because I think my perception of what that meant was off. And so I hit like a really big low, and I was just like, I'm walking around, I can't hardly move. I have to use a cane and all this kind of stuff. And then I just had these images of not being well, and just images of just illness taking over my life and stopping me from living fully, thinking about, oh yeah, they're going to Africa, girl. You can't even get on the plane. You can't, And so some of those self-depleting thoughts.
The programming that goes with that, right? Hearing that word that you're disabled. I was actually having a conversation with my dad that broke his neck like 30 years ago or 40 years ago now, right? And he was a paraplegic from the neck down for almost a year, where the doctors back in the 60s told him that he would never walk again. And with that the technology that they had, pretty much that was like, you broke, I think he snapped C2 through C4 in his neck. And the interesting thing, I was having a conversation with him today, and he kept on using that word, I'm disabled, I'm disabled. I said, Dad, what does that even mean? I said, you can walk, you have 2 legs, you have 2 feet, you're functional. What's so disabled about you? And he's like, well, the hospital told me I'm disabled. The doctor told me I'm disabled, right? And I said, what does that really mean? I was having a serious conversation. I was like, what does that even really mean? I say, if you can get up on your own 2 feet and do what you want to do, what is disabled about you, right? And he was kind of like, thinking, and all he could come up with, well, the doctor told me I'm disabled, right? And sometimes,
that's the point. Yeah,
and sometimes hearing that from a doctor, we start programming ourselves to tell us what we're not capable of doing, right? Oh, well, the doctor said I'm disabled. I definitely can't do that. That's too much for me. That's too.
We also have to change our definition for disabled.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, they give you a title and they give you a definition that's not very healing. Because I'm like, so I'm like, here's one of my mini canes, okay? Because you are bejeweled in the whole nine. Okay. Yes. You can call me disabled. You can call me living with a disability, differently abled, whatever, but what I have learned is there is not a shame in that. And the shame came from not the reality of how I'm living, but the doctor's definition of what I can't do, Yeah, I still got 2 legs. I can move them. Sometimes I can still dance and pop around here and do my little thing. Sometimes I need my cane, to support me. And so I started giving myself a different definition of what it means to be disabled. And it means that for me, that I need additional support. It's just that simple. And so I took the stigma out of it, because somebody else decided that it was a stigma. And there is no stigma with it. It's just some outdated, crazy definition that doesn't really make sense and apply. You see people doing all kinds of things who are disabled, right? I went to the Frida Kahlo exhibit this weekend, because I admire her. Just this phenomenal, amazing woman. You can just say Frida. You don't even need a last name. It's like Oprah in our current times, right? And this woman was living with chronic pain. She was disabled. And she also had a leg amputated at the end of her life. She was still painting. She was still doing all kinds of things. And it never occurred to me until I was there at the exhibit with my cane. Okay, because I was walking far, so I needed my cane. And I saw other people walking with their cane. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of us here with canes. And I thought, oh, that's right. See, when people give you that definition of disabled, it creates this sense of what you cannot do.
Right.
You're somehow different. You're somehow flawed. You're somehow, and none of that's true. So,
well, and also if we think of it like, though, I love your definition of needing additional support. And I think people feel so ashamed of that. Like, if I need to be able to take care of myself and I need to be able to do everything myself and I need to be this one-man show or one-woman show. Yes. And the truth of the matter is that we all need additional support in some way, shape, or form in our lives. So none of us is just this island where we don't need somebody or something. And so I think it's just the whole mindset of the shame, just eliminating the shame part of it. And just knowing that we all are the same in that way. We just have different types of support that we need.
Yeah, we're all interconnected. You know, I tell my clients, you know, if you could do it by yourself, guess what? You'd be on a planet by yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not meant to do it by ourselves. We're not. We're all interconnected. You
That's
know,
right.
children have parents. You know, even in the animal kingdom, those children have parents, you know. And then as we get older, you know, even if you don't need physical support, when you're older, then you want to be with your grandchildren more, with your adult children more. We're all interconnected, or we'd have individual little planets and we just go on our merry little way. We're not designed to be that way. So this shouldn't be a big deal. And I had to take the stigma out of it. And, you know, and I went ahead and applied for my placard for my car. At first, I was like, I'm not doing that. And I was like, oh, shift that mindset. And like, girl, shift, click, shift. We're not over there with that old story anymore.
Right.
You know, and that's giving me my life back. Because guess what, honey, let me tell you, honey, I was the cool kid walking around that museum. You hear me?
Yeah.
You see this? You see that? You see that? See how pretty?
Got the rhinestones in it. But we only have a few minutes left with you today, Miss Ananda Bliss. Thank you so much for all the value. If you're listening right now, you stuck with us this long, subscribe to the page on YouTube. Hear the Hood on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at ach.show. But I do want to do justice to our listeners, both who are listening live and are going to tune into the rebroadcast. We didn't hear your happiest moment. We did not hear your happiest moment. Talk to the people.
Let me tell you something. Right now, my happiest moment has been working out with Kat and lifting 20 pounds, doing a bench press. You know, because that let me know that all the hard work is paying off. And that might sound simple for some people, but for me, that was work. That was putting in the work. And that was a simple thing to notice because it was right there in front of me. And then from there, I noticed, oh my God, I'm actually getting up my stairs one at a time, 1 foot at a time, because I was having to go like 2 at a time to get up the stairs. I'm almost like a little bunny hopping up them stairs, like, when this gonna stop? So now I'm able to like get up these stairs, you know, and I'm like, oh, so seeing that progress, seeing that movement, you know, being able to have days where I wake up and I'm not like, oh wow, you know, what's that? You know, I'm waking up and I'm feeling really good, and I'm able to get my stretching in without feeling like it's going to be a big ordeal. Those have been like my best moments because it's showing me by putting in the work and the effort in my situation. Not everybody has my situation, but for me, that has been like the best day ever. And every morning I wake up, this is the best day ever. That's the first thing. Thank you, God, source, mother, father, whoever you want to thank. And then this is the best day ever. And that's what I expect. So,
Amen. Amen. That's so real. And also, I want to ask a follow-up to your story with the doctor. And you mentioned that, you know, you looked into some alternatives. So did you decide on the essential oil? Like, is that what helped you to heal your needs?
Well, the essential oils are definitely working. I mean, like my sister would say, I'm working my jelly with these essential oils, most definitely. So you can even see them here. I have like a whole bunch of them that I use for so many different parts of my body now. I cook with them. You know, because you can add them into different ones. You can add into foods, not all of them, but some of them you can add into foods, water, on the body. And I just make it like a wonderful opportunity and time to even like touch those knees and give thanks, because Thanksgiving and gratitude is huge. That's one of the biggest things. You know, you got to be thankful. And so the oils have helped. The diet has helped. The water, the mindset. Sleeping well is one of the best things that you can do. So sleeping well, then, you know, you need to find some things that will support that, and how you let go of your stress, all of those things. So it's not one thing, it's like a combination, but that foundation is the essential oils.
You found your gumbo.
That part. You got to find your root, because here it is. If you don't have the right foundation and you can't get around the experience of the pain, you can't hear anything else.
Right. Absolutely.
Ouch. You can't even get to the next thing. So to get to next level living, you got to have a good foundation. For me, it's the essential oils. I highly recommend it for anybody who's dealing with chronic pain. Try essential oils.
Can
You
I
know,
ask you about when did you go when did you become vegan or start living that plant-based lifestyle?
5 years. It's been 5 years.
years.
But when I say I've been vegan and not plant-based. So
Right.
I've had many more vegan moments, which for
Mhm.
people who don't know, a vegan diet is just something that eliminates any animal products, but it's not always nutritious. So
Amen.
plant-based is just plant-based, based from a plant,
That's
healthier.
right.
So, but I've been on this journey for 5 years, and it wasn't even intentional. I was working on healing some other things in the body, you know, and that's how I landed on vegan. I was like, yeah, I don't even have the taste for the meat or the dairy anymore. It was hard with the ice cream, you know, ice creamaholic, but then found a lot of good vegan ice cream. So
They sure do. They sure, that cashew ice cream is so
Oh
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a
yeah,
good
and everything in moderation.
breaking it up, because a lot of people think when you transfer over to a vegan diet that's necessarily healthy, right? And
Nope.
it's more so for the health benefits is the plant-based whole food diet.
That's right.
That's
that
right.
gives you more of the anti-inflammatory,
That's right.
all those different properties that your body, you know, when you're going through that healing process that you really want to focus on, more so than eating a lot of things. Like you said, there's vegan ice cream, right? If you have
Potato
inflammation, you're
chips are
still getting
vegan.
the process.
Potato chips are vegan.
Yeah, you're still getting the processed sugars that can
Right.
cause that inflammation in the body. So having that understanding as well.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to eat real food. Real food, not mock anything. Don't eat a lot of mock anything.
Right.
If it's in a bag, a can, or something like that, then you're probably not eating something plant-based.
Right.
Could be, but probably not. So
That's deep. That's deep. But as we come to a close, Bliss, you've added so much value to the listeners. I know I'll be listening to this on rebroadcast, so I'm extremely grateful. And I want to ask, you've given us so much today. How can we, the people, support you? Do you have any products? Do you have an ebook? Where can we go and support Bliss?
you can definitely check me out with the essential oils. That's the main horse that I'm riding right now because of everything that is done for me. So you can find me at my.doterra, which is DOTERRA.com/Bliss Botanicals. You can find me there, and we can talk about a whole lot of the oils and how they can best support you. And that's the main thing that I'm talking about right now. For folks who want a healing circle, now that we can get out a bit more, you can also contact me about that. You can contact me at my email address, which is my name, anandakimboya@gmail.com, to talk about your own personalized healing circle. We would do it out in the open with no more than 5 people. So we'll provide the sound, and I do an intake with you to find out what it is that you're wanting to experience, and we create something that's wonderful, uplifting, and healing for you. So those are the 2 primary things that I'm working on right now. Lots of things that I'm doing. Those are the 2 that I'm really, really pushing. It's wellness, baby.
Yeah. We're on social media. Can they follow you and follow everything that you got going on as well?
Oh, absolutely. You can find me on IG. So many places, right? You can find me on IG at Bliss_vegan. I do a lot of cooking. I do a lot of cooking with real food. Let's be clear.
Your page looks delicious. Your page, I just want to stick my phone in my mouth when I'm looking at your page.
You got to come out with a cookbook.
I know that's my manager may be listening. So, which is my son, one of my sons. He's the manager for me. And people have been talking to me about that cookbook for a minute. So that's something that will be coming hopefully this year or next year, really, really soon. And those are like the primary ways to definitely find me and connect. You can DM me on that platform, and I would definitely connect with you. You can email me, come talk to me on the doTERRA side, and we can talk about those essential oils and find out how you too can live your best life right now.
Wow. And that's that on that. So again, subscribe to us, Heal the Hood on YouTube. Look up Miss Bliss at Blissfully Vegan or Blissfully_vegan on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at ach.show. And that's all we got.
Yeah,
all
well,
right.
Brother Kwesi, where can they find you on social media if they want to get directly in contact with you?
Absolutely. So you can follow me on social media, especially Instagram at Kwesi, that's KWESI.dreams. And also you can follow our agency page at Alignment Agency if you want to get tapped in with where wealth and wellness unite. Talk to him, Brother Cat.
Yeah. So if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Instagram at catfitness3, on IG, Facebook is Cat Fitness, and the website is www.catfitnesswellnesscenter.com. And last but not least, where can they find you, Miss Kenya Asa?
Y'all can find me at Ruby Envy on Instagram, Ruby Envy on Twitter, Ruby Envy on Facebook. And yeah, if you want support on your journey towards holistic healing and health and mind, body, spirit, contact me and I got you.
So make sure that you tune in every Tuesday at 5 p.m. for the Anything Can Happen show, y'all. Make sure you set that alarm, set that reminder. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button to make sure you stay tuned in. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. So also follow our channel over there. So if you're listening to the rebroadcast and you love the content that you're hearing right now, make sure you share it with a friend as well. We want to make sure that we can impact as many inner city communities across the country to educate, motivate, and inspire you to live your best life one day at a time, y'all. Thank you for tuning in once again, and we will see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.